So I'm back this time for my UFC 188 predictions video. It's taking place on June the 14th and it's in Mexico. And you just went out of focus. I wonder if I look away and turn back. If I go out of focus, I'm so sorry. It's because it's twilight and it's not very easy to get the light right in here, and I'm having to sort of go a little bit quickly because I sort of ran out of time to do this, which is why it's loading in the middle of the week instead of at the start. Anyway, their main event is Cain Velasquez and Fabricio Verdum for the championship. Cain's been out a while, but he is the current holder. Fabricio Verdum is seeded number 1, and he's sort of on the rise. It's bizarre because he's been around a very long time. But he's only really sort of come into himself, I suppose, in the last couple of years. I remember meeting him in London, and I can't honestly remember at which UFC it was. Not sure he understood a word I said to him, quite honestly, but lovely, lovely guy. I hope that he wins that one, and I honestly think he does stand a good chance. Next we have Gilbert Melendez and Eddie Alvarez. Gilbert Melendez is one of these people who really gets a raw deal, to be honest with you. Luck is always seems to be against him. Eddie Alvarez has said that, he wants to sort of make a mark here in beating Gilbert Melendez, but I am rather hoping that this is going to be a turnaround and Gilbert can do well and sort of head back up towards title contention, which is sort of where he belongs, I feel. Kelvin Gastelum, seeded number 10, is fighting Nathan Marquardt, who, again, has sort of had his rise and fall, and this is sort of like his second win, if you like. But Kelvin Gastelum is one of those people who has possibly slipped under the radar a little bit. He's, in fact, very good. 11-1 is his record. He's pretty well-rounded in terms of wins as well, which is okay because Nathan Marquardt is similar, except his record 36-14 gives him a lot more experience. I think the issue with this one is that Nate Marquardt might win it by doing, technically speaking, what he did before, which is using a lot of wrestling. He has to be careful because the tide has turned against Lay and Prey, and I remember was it him who got Doctor Point, I think, during his last outing, because the referee felt that he was sort of doing that needlessly. Got to be a little careful in doing that, I think. Kelvin, if he does win, this will be a good name for him to have under his belt. Not sure. I think the safe bet is Nathan Marquardt, but I wouldn't say that that's going to be fight of the night by any standards. Still on the top card, we've got Yair Rodriguez and Charles Rosa. Don't know a thing about either of these. 10-1 for the latter, 4-1 for the former. This is basically ground war versus striker, with Rosa being on the ground, 70% of his finished by submission, and Rodriguez, who is mainly stand-up. Charles Rosa hasn't got decision, it's 0%. I don't know, to be totally honest with you on that one. I might go for Rosa just because he's got a better record. There is a women's bout on the main card. Tesha Torres, seeded number 5, is fighting Angela Hill, who's seeded number 15. Both have perfect records, 5 for the former, 2 for the latter, whereas the former is decision queen. Can't say king, can I there? Politically incorrect. The other person, stand up and decision. So this one's probably going to be devoid of submissions, but anyway. I think I'm going to go for the safe bet here again, as I don't know either of them, and I'm not really into women's MMA, I have to admit, and go for Tesha Torres. Let's go on to the mid-card. Henry Cejudo and Chris Camus, seeded 7 and 13 respectively. Henry has a perfect record of 8. And he's split between being on the feet and decision. Chico Camus, rated number 13, 15-5 is his record, and he split, really, but I think this one is going to go statistically to a decision. And I don't know. I might go out on a limb here and go for Chico Camus there. Efrain Escudero and Drew Dober, 15-6 for the latter, 24-9 for the former, who is fighting sort of in his home country, so to speak. This is probably going to be a submission fest. Both of them are not bad on submissions, whereas Drew also favours being on the feet, and Efrain Escudero decision. I think this will be a win for Efrain Escudero on the ground, but that is just that could be fight of the night. That one could be fight of the night. Alejandro Perez and Patrick Williams, again, don't know much about either of these. Mexican, the former, 16-5 versus 7-4. And this could be a war on their feet. Who do I go for? Don't really know. Went for the Mexican last time, so I'll go for Patrick Williams. As you can tell, I have just got it down to a T of how to predict these fights. If I don't know, I admit I'm not stupid. I admit I just guess. But there we are. Francisco Trevino and Johnny Case. It's another Mexican versus USA. This card's going on in Mexico, so it sort of makes sense. Francisco has a perfect record of 12. Johnny Case is 20-4. Don't remember him either. But there we are. I think this one's probably going to be a war on their feet, and this time I'm going to say that I think Johnny Case will win, and it will ruin Francisco Trevino's perfect record. Let's move on to the bottom of the card then. Augusto Montano and Cattle Pendred. Ah yes. 14-1 for the former, 16-3 for the latter. And this is going to be either going to be finished on its feet, in which case it's probably going to be Montano, or it's going to go to decision and be Pendred, and I'm going to go for him winning that one. He, I hasten to say, is Irish, a bit like the other one, Mouthy McGregor, except I don't think Pendred tends to mouth off quite so much. Gabriel Benitez and Clay Collard. Again, I don't know these either. Where are we? It is striker versus groundsman, with Clay on the feet. I'll go for Clay winning that one, but I don't know. And the very last one, Albert Tumanov and Andrew Todd Hunter. Andrew has a perfect record of 7, totally submission based, whereas Albert 15-2, generally on the feet. Might give it to Albert there. And that's my predictions. You know, really, this card and the other card should have swapped places, because the other card I felt was more worthy of being a championship name. This one has a strong top card, but the rest of it's not as good, whereas I think the other one was sort of more spaced out. But there we are. Sorry it's a bit late, but at least it's happened now.